Hey guys, welcome back to Double the Hustle podcast. I'm Tori.
And I'm Anna.
And today our special guest is none other than Vinny Brusco.
He's a life coach and is breaking stigmas about men's mental health, the founder of the Agora Social Club in Westchester County, where men can all gather in a community to talk about what they're struggling with.
Come take a listen with us and come back every Tuesday at noon to double your hustle.
Well, thank you for coming on our pod. We appreciate you, Vinny.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing. Such a great setup. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. We met at a networking event, which was so awesome.
Great event.
It was a great event.
Oh, the one in Frances?
Yeah. We went to Dan's event, and that's where I met Vinny, which it was a great event. And I love networking, and I say all the time that the podcast that we do is only for networking. That's it.
Yeah.
It brings you so many connections that we would never have met or came in connection with people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's become my cup of coffee. I'm like, hey, let's get a cup of coffee. Instead, I'm like, hey, let's do a podcast. Let's do a podcast, right? It's just like, when are you going to carve out an hour and a half of time to sit down with someone and have like a meaningful conversation?
Right.
It doesn't happen nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's definitely become my like throwaway comment. I'm like, let's do a podcast.
Yeah, that's a good, I like that. That's cool. It's like my cup of coffee meeting that you're going to have to network with somebody, but it's a podcast.
100%.
Exactly.
Huh, that's cool. I never thought of it like that. That's awesome. I'm going to use that now because that's cool.
Feel free.
I'm going to steal it. Let's get into your background.
Yeah.
And where you grew up. And then we'll
I grew up in the Bronx. Pretty traditional Bronx household, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
My dad was a retired cop. My mom was a teacher. Had two older sisters. So just a really conventional, normal Bronx growing up. Kind of. Played Little League and video games, the wrestling, all that stuff. Yeah, so it was just really conventional. Went to Catholic school.
Okay,
went
cool.
to St. Lucy's, and then went to Salesian High School in Westchester.
Wow.
Yeah, Old Boys Catholic High School.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that helped you or hurt you in any way?
It definitely helped. I think being in like a vacuum of guys was healthy, right?
Okay.
Obviously, when you're going through your teens, you're like, I want to do this. You know what I mean? But in the long run, I still have like my friends from high school. We're still really super close. So I think overall, in the long run, in hindsight, it definitely was more beneficial. But you know, when you're in high school, you want to be around girls and
of course,
and that kind of atmosphere. Like especially like growing up watching like shows like Saved by the Bell and all these shows. Like this is what high school is now. It's like you're with all guys. Like this isn't high school. Where's the max?
Yeah, that's cool though. I think in a way, like there's a lot of Catholic schools by us.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them. I think we have one that's like all boys school, but it's so interesting. There's not one that's all girls.
Really?
No.
I think one of them closed, the one that was near us.
Okay.
Do you? Because
There was.
Yeah, my sister went to an all-girls school in the Bronx, and then there's another all-girls school in Westchester.
Wasn't it like Trinity or something? I don't remember. But
I
I
don't
think it
know.
closed, yeah.
Not around, but yeah, there's a few in the area for
There
sure.
is.
There's another one like
It's
White
definitely
Plains.
a thing,
So,
yeah.
Huh, that's cool. I've heard of a lot of people, obviously, when you go from middle school to high school, and like everybody's like, oh, I'm going to Catholic school, or oh, I'm staying in public school.
Yeah.
Like I feel like all the guys were going to the all guys one, but I never heard of like girls saying, I'm gonna go to an all girls one. What do you think was the main difference? Would you say that you got out of going to Catholic school? I know you don't know what public school would
Right,
have been
I went to
like.
Catholic school my whole life, pretty much. Yeah, except college. Yeah.
What do you think would have been, why was it better for you, and what did you take out of it?
I think it's shocking. I think the uniforms are really important. Like oddly enough, like we were at that time.
We did want to do that. So.
What happened?
We always, as kids growing up, we were always like, can't we go to Catholic school?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because we were always into
Interesting.
sports, and they were always better for sports.
Interesting.
So like we were always like, can we do like?
Really?
yeah.
That's interesting.
That it is.
I think it's what you also are not going to, right? It's like, and there was also a Catholic co-ed school
okay.
that I was kind of like, oh, I'd like to go there. But mom's like, you're not going there. Like, you're going to an all-boys school. And like I said, in the long run, it was better. I think the uniforms did help when we couldn't have like long sideburns. You couldn't have facial hair. Like my sideburns went below my earlobe in high school.
Yeah.
Like my principal came like pulled them. Like, there was like no messing around.
Yeah. Like right next to
It was like they would send kids like go like you had to have a razor, especially as you get older, like senior years, like go shave. Like there was no go downstairs, get an office, go shave. It was like no kind of messing around. I do think the uniforms because it made everyone like on an even playing field. It wasn't like, oh, I'm coming to school with this new clothes, that new thing, this new that. Whereas like everyone just wore the same thing, right? You really didn't know what their class was because it's just, you know, khaki pants and shoes and a sweater or a tie. That was it.
I agree with that. Now,
That is really
saying that,
interesting. Yeah.
You don't see people's like, not home life, but like you don't see their class. So like you wouldn't judge them.
It's not like
on-
somebody's coming in with like Louis Vuitton shoes on.
Right.
And like the next person has a hole in their shoe or like is wearing, you know, some kind of shoe that.
I do think it helps though with a lot of discipline.
For sure.
Like, and that just keeping like a routine, not like a routine because like school, public school is like a routine too, but like discipline, being strict, like not fooling around, kind of even being maybe even more mature. Than a regular public school.
Yeah, I think it's also that, you know, there's this, I guess, you're paying for it, right? So your parents are really like, you're not messing around here, right? Like my kids go to public school and there is an element where it's like, well, you know, there's not this extra level of concern, whether it be from the actual system itself or the parents, because no one's paying for it, right? So there's the parents that are not paying for it, and the admin's like, all right, whatever. But when you're paying for it and your hard-earned money is going towards your kid's education, if it's not being fostered in a certain way, you're kind of like, hey, listen, I'm paying for this, right? Like, I want to be in a certain atmosphere that's conducive to learning.
That's interesting. I feel like, to your point, like we always wanted to go because of sports. And even now looking back, like the relationships that you could make and the ones down by where we live are crazy. Like there's some kids coming from overseas to come to our Catholic schools.
Wow.
Like we have one, it's called St. Anne's, and there's kids that come over from overseas. I mean, I met a kid the other day. He came from, I think he said he came from either Japan or China, and they come to our school.
Wow.
And they stay there for 4 years, like going to college, but they're coming to our Catholic school. And I think having over in their countries, they're high class. So they come to us to learn our education. They're being like flown out and live here and like, you know, they just have money over there. So they're coming to our education system to then go to college after the fact. But I think like having that level of networking, you don't realize it when you're in high school.
Of course not. No.
But to think back, like that's a huge advantage, somebody going to that school and having those connections. You're building connections all over the world. I mean, like I said, you're not thinking about it then, but it's crazy to think like, it's also a networking place. And I'm sure you're still friends with a bunch of the guys
a bunch of them,
that,
for sure.
that
and
you
it's funny because, you know, like you said, you don't think of it at that time, but you also don't think about like the component of who you're surrounding yourself by, right? Like having like-minded individuals, right? And having like-minded cultures. And it was very diverse, but everyone's kind of in the same kind of level in life. And I think that's also really important to like grow is having that connection with people that are on the same playing field. And then having, I guess, you know, a Catholic background and essence to it, I think also kind of grounds you into something that's bigger than yourself.
Yeah. Would you said your kids don't go to Catholic school
No,
now.
they go to public school now,
Do you wish that they went to Catholic school or it's not really?
I don't know.
Do you think it would change their?
I don't know. Like we, my wife and I have this conversation pretty often. The school that they're in is very good. Like we're very happy with the school.
Yeah.
I think there'd be some disciplinary, not towards them, but towards other kids, some disciplinary components that would be more beneficial
100%.
for my kids in the long run.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, we're pretty happy with their school for the most part. So
Yeah, I feel like if you grow up in a disciplined household, you kind of get the same feel, you know, like you're somebody who is disciplined in his own right and follows a daily routine and is on top of their stuff, not just a parent who's like running by life
9 to 5 and then
throwing it up in the air and seeing what's happening. But I think kind of maybe the at-home life mimics that discipline of what you would get in Catholic school.
100%.
So there's not really a lag.
Yeah, of course. Like they're out in the world now, seemingly. Like, they're not in a pocket of like this little Catholic school, you know. But listen, any school wherever they go, there's stuff, right? So it's a good learning lesson also to say like, hey, this is the world. You're not in the house anymore.
You're not in a bubble.
Yeah, you gotta just kind of take it as it is.
Yeah, which is
scary.
It really is now.
Scary,
it is.
Sure.
So after Catholic school, where'd you go?
I went to Iona College for a year and a half.
Okay.
And then I transferred up to University at Albany. where I did college radio. I majored in communications and minored in psychology. So I was always a big fan of like psychology, philosophy, always a big radio nerd. I had a college radio show.
Really?
Yeah. So
That's cool.
I've been broadcasting for a long time. It's always been just what I wanted to do.
And it's all audio?
Yeah. We used to have vinyls, and we get vinyls and CDs. You could put them in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we did the show was called Brunch with Brusco. So we did like a brunch time radio show. I loved it. Yeah. It was a good time.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then where'd you go after that? You got into radio? Or?
I worked at K-Rock for a while. Okay. It was like Free FM. They went back and forth. I did like an internship there, and that was part of like their marketing and street team. So we'd go out to like bars and concerts and hand out T-shirts and stickers, and people would spin the wheel and win corn dogs. And then I got, kind of more on the radio side of things, where I did like the board opping. I would do overnights. I ran the phones. I kind of did some phone screening and stuff like that. And then I was just kind of in pursuit of radio at that point. That was my main focus. And I applied to like every radio station, rock station, because that was kind of more my music at that time. And I got offered a job in Waterloo, Iowa. So I went out with my then girlfriend, now wife, and we went out there, and she's a teacher, and they interviewed me first. And the guy was like, "You got the job, come on out, no big deal." It was awesome. And then before we went on the airport, my wife got interviewed at a school.
Oh.
And they were like, "You got the job, come on." So I was literally like, so she's like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, I'm from the Bronx. Like, I can't live in Waterloo, Iowa. Like, this is culture shock. So I didn't take the job. And then I was like, I got to find something here closer. And I applied to every radio station. And I got a job at WBAB in Long Island. And I did overnights, and I did morning traffic and news for Roger and JP here and there as fill-in. And I pursued that until we just kind of parted ways.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
What was it like? Give us insight
radio?
Inside radio. Yeah, what is it? I mean, of course, you hear it driving, but it's not a visual thing. So everybody gets to make it up in their head of what they actually think it looks like. You know?
It's funny you say that, because that was such a component for me that I loved. Like, I love broadcast. I love radio.
Yeah.
And I remember I was a big Opie and Anthony fan. And when Opie and Anthony used to have like the studio cameers, I would be so intrigued to watch it. Because I always thought that same thing of like, what's going on over there? Like, what's going on behind the scenes? It was exciting. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it was like a big pursuit of mine, and then you achieve your goal. And then it's interesting because I always wanted to do talk radio. That was always my vision.
Yeah. Okay.
And you, like I said, you get to your goal and you're kind of like, all right, this is it. Like, now what? Like, Like, it's like almost like a deflating feeling. But it taught me a lot of things. I mean, in broadcasting alone, just some, that cadence, that flow of things. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Being able to talk, have a conversation, skill.
Is it like podcasting every day?
I did. It was a radio. It was music. It was a rock station. So you only get 30 seconds per break. So each break is only 30 seconds. You only get 2 an hour. So you only get 1 minute to talk. And one of the breaks, like at BAB, had to be BAB related, so it was all related to the station. And the other one could be kind of whatever you wanted. So you don't get that much time to really articulate. You don't realize how quick and how long 30 seconds is.
Yeah.
Like it goes by pretty quick, but it's also a long time to fill.
talk.
Yeah, it really is. Mm-hmm. So I remember I would have to, you run the board and you have a mic button and you pod it up. And right before, almost every time, right before I had hit the mic and the pod up, I would just freeze. Like my mouth would be I couldn't get words out. And then sure enough, I'd hit the button and pod up, and I just, hit the bumper and all that stuff to have you say. But it was weird. It was a weird experience, but I loved it. Yeah.
It's all like ads, right?
Ads,
what you'll say,
the ads are usually preloaded. So they'll give you some station stuff that they want you to talk about in one of the breaks, and then the other one could be kind of whatever you want.
Oh, cool.
It was weird because I was 25 and the demographic was definitely older people.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm talking about Comic-Con and wrestling and stuff like that. And they come and be like, listen, we need to really focus on the guy who's in the garage having the Budweiser, cranking the wrench on his Mustang. I'm like,
maybe
but
I'm
I'm 25 and going to Comic-Con. I'm really into Star Wars. I don't know. But it was great. I loved it. It was funny because when I interviewed, I remember saying to him, if you give me 2 seconds on air, I'll be happy. I just wanted to be in the building.
Yeah.
And it really taught me, the whole closed mouths don't get fed. You gotta just keep on pushing. And I would get no's. no answer. I mean, you sending out your CD, your resume to every station that has, you know,
And they never get
whatever,
back.
and you never hear back from anybody. It really teaches you, especially that world, just like you got to keep on going. Like,
Because like how
you
many
never
radio
know.
stations are there? There's really not.
I was up and down the East Coast.
Exactly.
Up and down the
Yeah.
East
Like
Coast. Boston.
after that, there's nowhere else for you to go. Like, that's
I
all
was
you
gonna go-
have.
I knew I didn't want to go far, right?
Yeah.
Because I got offered Iowa, and I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe California I would explore, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
like
knew
a
I
city
wanted
or
to stay,
something,
exactly. I wanted to stay close to the East Coast. So, I mean, every Boston, I mean, up and down.
You
And-
lived on Long Island while you did it?
No, I lived still in the Bronx.
Really?
Yeah. So I was commuting out to the Bronx, from the Bronx to Long Island, doing overnights, wake up. And sometimes I slept at the station, would come home the next morning because you're on like overnights.
Right.
So you'd be pretty tired. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's actually people there overnight.
No, it's
still.
just me by myself.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's just
it.
me by myself. That was it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And what time was the shift? What time did
It
you
would
start?
be like from 12 to 5 overnight or like depending.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when I was at K-Rock, same thing. But that was a big building in Manhattan. So there was like tons of security and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Now, is it all done from home? Or are they
No,
still
they're still at
going to
stations.
the...
Yeah, they're still in good stations. I'm sure
Gotcha.
like there's like the, you know, Delilah, like the 106.7 woman
Yeah,
like, during Christmas.
Yeah.
I think she has like a whole setup at her
Set up at
house
home.
because she's at
I
like
feel like
that
the
level.
pandemic pushed that
I'm
probably,
sure,
and
yeah,
some
yeah.
people like didn't go back, and others like
Yeah,
did.
because you can kind of just
Yeah.
do it from anywhere at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's so cool because it's like such a different world, I feel like. And nobody like ever talks about it.
Yeah.
Like I know this one guy, he did radio for a long time, Nick Sikella. He did radio for a long time. But like it's so you don't hear about the industry and
Not
you don't
anymore.
yeah, it's just like so I feel like everybody wants to be like the radio DJ
Yeah.
or like playing music
Is
on
it
the
dying
radio.
though, or you think no?
I mean, podcasting is, you know, and you have Spotify, you have the streaming
Right.
services that, you know, people can really on demand choose what they want to listen to.
Yeah.
I think it will always be there, but it's, you know, for me, for sure, I'm like,
It's a little- yeah.
It's always like in my heart. It's always kind of like,
Yeah.
I'd go back to
Oh,
a radio
shit.
job. You know what I
But
mean?
the
Like,
views like must be going down because
Yeah.
you get in the car and
Radio.
never. Like the only time I do is during Christmas at 106.7. I'll just leave it on all Christmas season.
Yeah.
I don't touch
Right.
it. Besides that, not
yeah,
really.
it's crazy. I wonder how it's gonna change or
Damn.
what it will turn into.
Yeah.
You know, like what's gonna be that driving force that changes it, maybe to have people come back into it
Yeah.
or not.
I think it's just also like the just sign of the times. Like again, I listen to
Right.
like classical music and jazz now. So like I do put it on sometimes in the car and I'll just leave it on
Yeah.
one station. But there's not that like engagement like there used to be.
Yeah,
You
no,
know what
I
mean?
agree.
And plus you could stream a lot of the stations now online anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So
Or listen to exactly what you want to listen to if you just type it in and press play.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where'd you go after radio?
After radio, I was in the car business for 16 years.
Wow.
That was kind of the pivot point for me because I
Holy
was like,
cow.
I need a job now because
That's
radio
it.
didn't pay much. I actually have
That's
the
a big
first
difference.
a photocopy of the first paycheck I got in radio. I think it was like $46.33, and I have it like framed
Holy
at
cow.
home. Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, it was not paying the bills. So I needed to find a job, and I got into the car business by happenstance. I did that for 16 years. Did sales, finance, sales manager. Yeah. It was,
That's a
it's-
way different business.
Whoa, totally
And-
different.
Yeah,
Totally different.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, totally different. world.
One of them you're selling without like just audio, and one you're trying to sell in front of people,
Oh, such a
and you
different world.
can't like mess up. Like if you're
Yeah.
behind the radio, nobody sees you. You know,
Yeah.
if you mess up, you mess up. Like it's just you. But
Yeah.
like now you're in front of people trying to sell somebody, and it's a way different.
Totally different thing. But
Yeah.
I was always like I was good with people.
Yeah.
I like people. I'm very
Yeah.
intrigued by people. So I took to it pretty well. The
Yeah.
sales side of it was a learning curve that I couldn't even anticipate.
Yeah.
But after you do it for, you know, X amount of years, it just becomes
I was gonna say
part of it.
now being in that business, like, what do you think? Like, don't you think like everyone needs to go through that?
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
100%.
What did you learn that like not everyone learns like about?
Yeah, it goes back to that perseverance piece. You know, just rejection doesn't define you. You know,
Yeah.
we get caught up in like needing to hear yeses and confirmation and validation, and you just get so many no's. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, I got this. I got that. So that's very deflating in a lot of ways. So
Oh,
I
it
think
is,
you know that is one component. I think also just managing your energy and being able to kind of allocate it accordingly. Was something that in hindsight I could say I've learned.
Right.
But when you're in the middle of it, you get three people saying no to you one after the other. You're just like, oh man, you're so
Yeah, what's
deflated.
going on?
You don't
Yeah.
want to do it again.
You're like, it's definitely me.
But when I
Yeah,
stepped
yeah.
into that managerial role, I really enjoyed that because I was able to be a little bit more of like a mentor and a leader versus just being like a foot soldier.
Yep.
And that's where I kind of felt myself being the most aligned in like with the work I do now is just really creating those relationships and being there for someone when they're going through something of like, oh, this thing and that thing. It's like, all right, we're going to get through this. We'll figure it out together. Like, you know, and being that person they can lean on. So it served me in a lot of ways. But it's
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, I'm in sales now and I feel like it's just like always a constant grind, you know, like if you don't get up and go to work, you don't make money.
Yeah.
So it's all on you. No matter if you can't show up and like have a bad day. Like if you show up and have a bad day, you're not selling anything because of whether you're speaking to somebody and the tone is coming off wrong or whether they're standing right in front of you and looking at you and you look like shit, that you're not selling anything.
Yeah,
you know?
It's very different than working a conventional job where you get a salary and on Friday you're off and you know, you're done on Friday, you're off on the weekends and you clock out. It's a very emotionally draining job and career. And unless you do it, you kind of don't understand it.
Right.
So it is very interesting. It is.
However, the other side of it is if you get it, it's very rewarding and like so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, like
if you're good at it
click.
and like you want to chase that, like you.
Yeah. It's like they say like it's a numbers game. And if you get into the numbers game and hit your numbers and just be like, okay, that one was a no, but like I'm one closer to a yes.
Exactly.
Go. Then you could get it.
But the problem is you don't know when that's coming, right?
Course,
so it might be 20 more. And you're just like, oh, this is horrible.
Or it may be the next one, and you never know.
Exactly. And it's also a culture thing. Like, what is the culture of where you're working, what you're doing? And unfortunately, in a lot of ways, the car business is not the healthiest culture in a lot of ways. Stereotypically, it's not. Like you think of a car salesman, it's like, oh, this guy wears a pinky ring, he smokes cigarettes, you know, he's just kind of like, you know, whatever.
100%. It's all show.
Exactly. And, you know, I kind of pride myself on not being that stereotypical car guy.
Right.
And it served me in a lot of ways. So it was good.
Yeah, I think I sell real estate and being in an office, the older, you know, generation and older offices, you get like stuck, you know, and I feel like that could be similar, like even in the car industry. It's not that like the real estate office could be toxic in a way, like as toxic as maybe like a car sales place could be, because I know people in the car sales industry and they say it's toxic. Like,
and it's funny, it's like across the board.
Yeah.
It's like everywhere. I've worked at the highest line of dealerships. I've worked at, you know, domestic brands and, you know, entry level and whatever you want to call it, but it just seems to be ingrained in the system. Which is hard to kind of wring out.
Yeah. I feel like in real estate, it's not like that. It's more that like the office is like stagnant and there's no fun to it.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no excitement. There's no young people or trendy people that want to be in an office together. Everybody wants to like work from home and like, I don't know, just be by themselves and do what they want. Like if there was an office where we like everybody got up, came to work today, called together, lifted each other, you know, like it would be so much different in a way.
You think that's real estate in general, or do you think that's just like a particular office?
I think it's changing now because people are building offices that are trendy and eye appealing, feel better, you know, than just walking into an office that's like carpet and a desk with a chair. You know,
it's like a water cooler going
literally. Like that's like it's so like stagnant. So I feel like it's changing, but I feel like at the same time it's hard because a lot of people don't want to go into the office.
People don't want to change.
Do that. People don't want to change. They don't want to leave their house. They don't want to, you know, come to an office. But I don't know. I feel like people would do so much better if they did do that. Of course. You know?
Yeah, get out of your pajamas.
So I think exactly. Or your pajama bottoms, because the top may be professional, but the bottoms aren't.
That's a good point.
But I just think it's, I don't know. It's just people now. I think COVID hurt a lot of people by wanting to stay home. I think that's not what really people want. I think they're just stuck in their comfort ways, because if you got out and went to the office, you may do better and feel better.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't know. I think it's changing. There's a few offices that have popped up that you see are like trendy and like online and stuff. But I think it's also like flushing the old agents
generations
out.
Yeah. But real estate's also very individualized, no?
It is.
Like it's very personality driven and individualized.
It's very individualized, but I think that hurts it. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think so too.
I think, at least for me, like if you had a team and you like were excited to go there every day and pushed each other and did this, you know, and you could be on a team now, but they don't give the same like team vibe, I guess, that people are looking for.
Yeah.
You know, people just open a team and think like, okay, they're under me, I'm going to make money off them.
Right.
That's not what you should be thinking about.
Right. No,
you
I
know,
agree.
you want to build a team for like the culture, and when the culture pops off and everybody jives, you do better. Then you make money.
Then everybody's making money. And then you're making even more money.
Exactly.
Couldn't
And
agree
then
with you more.
everybody's happy and it's like a flow and things are, you know, so at least it's also a lot of chains.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like it gets, you know, it's just like the big chains, Berkshire,
Like Century 21.
Signature, Century 21. It's not, and it's hard to open a brokerage
Yeah.
and build a team that doesn't have that background, because those are luxury brands. So when everybody thinks, they think of
Right.
those
That's their
big
go-to.
brands.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah,
think
yeah,
of your
yeah.
little mom and pop realty brand
Of course.
that may,
Unless you like know
know,
someone.
exactly.
Like, oh, I know, you know, this
Yeah.
person. They're
Exactly.
into real estate. Yeah.
But I think it's, you know, it's the chains that are kind of
yeah. Makes sense. It's a
Yeah.
bigger system.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to operate within that already pre-existing system that's
Mm-hmm.
there. Yeah.
And it's hard to beat them
Yeah.
too, you know, like
Yeah, because
they offer so much more than a mom and pop could ever offer.
Yeah, they
it's
have so much more
corporate.
resources.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hard, but I think it's changing,
Not fast enough.
but not not fast enough, but not, you know, it's got to turn over and have
yeah, it's a very old
Those
industry.
people-
It's coming. Yeah.
yeah, I got it. Yeah, car
Yeah.
business is very similar in that
Yeah.
regard.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is.
The old guard has
it's
to
like
kind of move on.
entrepreneurship but corporate at the same time, like stuck.
Yeah,
It-
and they kind of combat each other.
Yeah,
in a
they
we-
do.
in a weird way.
They do,
Which
yeah.
they shouldn't, but
Yeah, they do. They definitely do, because it's, you know, they're colliding. Like one's telling you this is your job and you're getting paid as you're running your own business, and the other one's telling you like, I'm giving you these resources, but like
you're part of this machine.
yeah, exactly.
Fall in line.
That I'm making money off of. Like, where does it go? You know?
Yeah, it's a great point. Yeah.
So it is hard, but it's again.
But sales
it's
again,
sales
it's helpful
great.
and it teaches you a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's no ceiling
Yeah,
to it, and I think that's enticing for a lot of people.
for sure.
But a lot of people jump into it and fail.
Yeah,
So
because again, that's where that grit and resilience comes in, where you're just kind of pushing through the discomfort of the no's and
Yeah.
you know, the culture, and just kind of staying.
I think it's also
steadfast.
consistency and discipline and routine, like you learned in Catholic school.
Yeah.
And that pays off big for like staying in your, you know, time block or whatever you're doing to keep going. Do that every day repeatedly.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, like so many people are like, oh, I want to be my own boss. I want to be my own boss. But they
Then you
don't
get there.
understand you have to work every day.
Yeah.
No matter what. Because
Yeah.
if you don't, nobody's paying you. Like you don't have a boss to pay you. So
Yeah.
you're paying
Right.
yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
there's freedom and flexibility, but then there's also this radical responsibility that comes with that. So
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's very hard, but it's the most rewarding when you get it and when it clicks.
Yeah, for
Are you
sure.
still in the sales business?
No,
or
no, I left actually not that long ago.
Oh, cool.
We made a transition to leading into Agora full time.
Yeah.
My wife and I kind of sat
Nice.
down, like, all right, if
Yeah.
we're gonna do this, let's do it. you
Yeah,
know? So
exactly. Yeah.
it's been a journey.
Were you doing both at the same time before
Yeah.
you quit?
Yeah. So I was doing both. So I started Agora in April 7th of 2004, which is the
Oh,
men's.
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know
recent.
it was open for that long. Wow.
Yeah. So it's right now we're at one location, 200 square feet.
Yeah.
And
Explain for people what it is.
So Agora is a men's membership-based social club. We do men's groups, breath work. It's also
Yeah.
a community space.
Yep.
So guys can go scan their key fob, have access to the space, do work, have a cup of coffee, and kind of just hang. In doing the work I do with men over the last since 7-8 years, I realized guys need a space where they can kind of have community.
Yeah.
We're doing our men's groups in all these different locations. And it hit me one day. I was like, wow, there's no actual place to do this.
Yeah.
So I started Agora in 2004, April 7th, 2004. And now we're in a big expansion phase. We're opening a second location, a flagship, which is going to be a full-on podcast studio, community workspace, gym, barbershop, jiu-jitsu mats,
that's really cool.
sauna, sensory deprivation tank. So one-stop shop. And then the root of all that is the community and relationships, like doing the men's groups, the first responders groups.
Nice. So what is it? It's like a membership, and then you can go in literally anytime and scan your.
Yeah.
Where's your new location opening?
Most likely Westchester as well. Cool. We're kind of finalizing some ideas of where.
Yeah.
But we found a great location.
Nice.
And we're just in the middle of Arizona, the capital. So it's been fun. But you learn a lot.
Yeah. Definitely do. And there's room for it in a sense that like they have all these. I was talking on the way up here with Victoria, they have all these mom groups and women's groups. And I was saying even our cousin down on Long Island, she owns a mom's group, and they have, you bring your kid, and when you're feeling alone, when you just had a baby, like you go to all these classes, all these groups. And I was like, there is nowhere for like men, you know? And I think that's really cool. It's a sense of, like you said, community and somewhere to go, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, when I first started it, I was on the phone with a buddy like pretty much every day, and he called me up one day. He's like, "You start a men's group." I was like, "What? I don't even know what that means. Like, what does that even look like?"
Right.
So he's like, "You start a men's group," and I started doing some research and talking to people. And the first one I did, I reached out to every guy had like those gray conversations. They weren't water cooler conversation, but it wasn't like the real, like, how are you doing? Like it was just like kind of this gray conversation.
Yeah.
And we had the first one at American Legion. There's 24 guys. And I was like, wow, there's really something here. So we continued doing it. We did it at a coffee shop in New Rochelle. We did it at the Jiu-Jitsu Academy I train at. We did it at community spaces in apartment buildings. Zoom during COVID. And then it kind of hit me that there's no place to actually do this. But at one of the meetings, we're sitting around, and all of a sudden I become like omnipresent to myself. You ever see the movie Donnie Darko? No. All right. Well, there's a like an energy that kind of goes around.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and this like golden thread comes out of I'm literally seeing this.
Yeah.
Coming out of my chest, and no psychedelics, nothing.
Yeah.
Sober as a baby. And I see this golden thread going through the room. And I'm like, what in the world is going on right now? I go home, I tell my wife, I was like, I don't know what that was, but I feel so fulfilled right now. Like I feel like I had a Thanksgiving dinner. I was like, I don't know what that is, but that's what I'm going after in my life.
Yeah.
That feeling.
That feeling again.
And I've just been doing my best to
get back there.
Yeah. Well, just following that, like feeling that and stepping on that path and following it to wherever it takes me.
Which is really cool. I think that'll be huge. It's not, like you said, it's a one-stop shop. So it's not like there's so many gyms that are open.
Yeah.
There are so many recovery places that are open. There are so many, but to have it in one space, I think that it'll be a hit, and it'll
Thank you.
go crazy in that space.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It's also that, as a man, you get, I mean, I'm sure it's the same way as a woman, right? As a mom, whatever it is, whatever role you play in that is that you get spread so thin. Right? I go here to get a haircut. I go here to train jiu-jitsu. I go here to recover. I go here to record my podcast. I go here to actually have a coffee or conversation with someone, right?
Right.
So my thought is like, you could spend your day there, and then you go home and you could just be present.
Right.
Like there's nowhere else you have to go.
You got everything done.
Right, exactly. Your day is like your first half of your day checklist is done. Now you can just go home and be present to whatever that looks like for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. What is it? Where'd the name come from?
So
how'd you come up with the name?
So I was sitting at my desk one day, and what came to, because I'm big into like Stoic philosophy, and I was like, where did the philosophers meet in ancient Greece? And I like typed it in, and it said the Agora, and I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, it just,
oh wow.
It hit me, and it was like the community space in ancient Greece. So they would go and vote. It was like the marketplace, but it's also where the philosophers would go and talk about life and figure things out. And
wow.
So as soon as I read it, I was like,
That's
like
done.
Done. No question. No question.
Hurry up. Get it
going. Get in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to sign it. You got to lock it in. Quick.
It's a whole process, but yeah.
That's cool. Where has it been a slow process for you, or kind of how did you get the courage to jump out of your job to now do this full time? And when was like, okay, this is working, I'm going to run with it? And
slow in some regards, really fast in others.
Okay.
Which is like kind of how things go sometimes.
Of course,
right?
yeah. You never know.
It was in the beginning, it was like, just getting people in and getting members, and it was fine. It was like, doing the men's stuff, the men's groups and stuff. And then oddly enough, I was sitting one day, I was like, how can I grow this? How can I make this bigger? How can I make this expand? And my business partner now, him and I had met. We did like a 2-hour ruck walk. He's in the men's space. He's a UK veteran. And he out of nowhere just messages me. And he's like, hey man, you got a minute? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I just want to hop on a call. He's like, I love what you're doing. I really believe in their vision. I love it. He goes, I know how to build businesses. Like I know how to build decks and financials. Like this is my world.
Yeah.
Let me help you. Like, let's figure out a way to make this work. So from there, it was like we just took off. It was just like, okay, what do we have to do? What do we have to do? We have to do this. We have to go there. We have to get this, like things that you don't even know. Like I don't even know this stuff. Like I have no idea how to start and run a business. Zero idea. And it's, it kind of goes back to the idea of being okay not knowing things.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been leaning into this whole idea of like, we'll figure it out. Like, I don't know I have all the answers, but we're going to figure it out. And one of the kind of validating things for me, whether it be whatever your belief system is, mine's God, but I came up with the logo originally. And I had sent it to this woman who's doing my marketing and my website. And she's like, well, I don't really know about it. And she came up with this other logo, which is like this logo. And the one we ran with for a while. And I was like, okay, I like it, but fine. My partner now, one day he's like, hey, listen, I sent something to a buddy of mine who's in marketing and he thinks we should switch up the logo. And he sends me the logo that they came up with. And it's identical to the original logo that I had.
Wow.
And I got chills. I was like,
okay,
this is meant to be.
Yeah.
Like,
that's it. That's your sign.
Yeah, there's that nugget.
Yeah.
Like, there's that nugget to keep on going. And there's just been so many of those as we're building this thing out. So when I say slow and fast, it's slow because it feels like I want it to be here now.
I know, yeah.
But in hindsight, like when talking to people, like you've been open for a year and a half, whatever it is, and you're already getting things going on the next one.
Yeah.
It's been super validating.
How long do you think till you open the next one? A while.
Our goal is probably the build out probably about 8 months. We're still in the middle of raising some capital. We're in some final stages of, again, learning all of these things that it takes to like crowdfund and equity fund.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how quickly this capital raise goes. We're like in some final stages back end of like SEC approvals and stuff like that. Things you don't think of, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so whenever the good Lord decides it needs to be open, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Let's jump into that. How much has God played a role in where you got today, and kind of what I feel like as people grow up, they lose that. And even like Victoria and I, we've been like jumping back into it because growing up, we went to religion and we did like all the things that like a normal, kid would do with a family, but it wasn't never like pushed on us.
Yeah.
And our family doesn't continue it now. So like we're trying to continue it together.
Amazing.
So
That's
how
beautiful.
much has it been like, did you let it go at a point and find it again, or what happened for you?
For me, I again went to Catholic school forever, so it was always kind of forced. Same thing.
Okay. Yep.
Go to church, get the card signed, proof you went to church.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I guess it was probably like the late teens and 20s, you kind of lose your path a little bit.
Right.
Having children definitely reintroduced me to God and to church.
Okay.
My daughter was going to Relig, and my wife and I decided, like, listen, if she's going to be going to Relig and going to receive communion, like we should also be going and just kind of, being a figure in that regard.
Right.
And I was at church with my wife, and my daughter was in a Relig class, and the Monsignor at the church we go to, Catholic church, he's like, remember when you come up, you're receiving a God who created the universe. And I was like, I looked at my wife, I was like, I'm going to receive. Because at that point, I was spiritual. I probably was like, oh, the force or the universe. Or like, Jesus existed, but he's a really cool dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and then from that moment on, it's just been like up and to the right, like with God and with just religion and just leaning into that space. And it just has become just such a key component to the alignment. And again, you start off with, coincidences, then they become serendipities, right?
Yeah.
But now I look at those things as like micro miracles. So that like golden feeling that pulled me was like, to me, that's God calling me to do something bigger.
That you're on the right path or whatever.
100%.
Yeah. Just
So it's been
showing you.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who's lost their path and trying to get back into it.
Yeah.
And how
I feel like it's
you got
like
back into
people,
it.
like a lot of younger people now are like,
Huge.
it like became, it's not going to be I hope it's not a trend, but
Yeah.
like a lot of people now are like getting back into their religion or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think that's multifaceted. We do a Bible think tank at Agora, and I specifically called it a think tank because Bible study can be intimidating. And I was, I was like wrestling with these concepts of religion of like, wait, he's born of a virgin? Like, this doesn't make sense. How's that possible?
Exactly.
Right? And I was talking to a guy I worked with, and he's like, yeah, I get you, man. I'm like, I kind of wrestle with this stuff too. I was like, well, if I'm wrestling with it, if you're wrestling with it, I'm sure other people are. So I became actually very friendly with the pastor at a church right near Agora, Trinity Church, Pastor Andy. And I was like, hey man, it's Christian church. I was like, hey man, like he became like my sparring partner.
Yeah.
Where I could throw questions at him like, hey, I'm wrestling with this. And he'd be like, okay, like never judged. Yeah. Always like empathetic. Like
just somebody you could throw something at and see what sticks. Exactly.
100%. Yeah. And for someone who likes rabbit holes like jujitsu and philosophy and psychology, like I like peeling back the layers.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I think what started for me was just silence, like just sitting and finding time to just be quiet and still. And I think that with phones and everything else, it's, proof of the times. Yeah. Everyone's just always energetically charged. Yeah. And if you could find just a little bit of time just to like slow down. For me, that was meditation at first, then it evolved to like sensory deprivation and going to like a float tank.
What is that?
So a float tank is a pod or big bathtub, if you will. It's filled with 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt, so it's very dense, so you could float. It's denser than the Dead Sea. The water temperature is just below your body temperature, so it's like 98, 90, somewhere in that world, because you upregulate your temperature to offset it. And essentially, you float in this water. You frame your face, so your ears you put like earplugs in. You can't hear anything because your ears are under the water. You can't feel anything because you're floating. And it's completely dark. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face if you tried.
What?
So you can't see anything.
This is like weird, but like, do you close your eyes or keep your eyes open?
Exactly. It's like sometimes I think my eyes are closed and they're open. Sometimes they're open and they're closed. I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Wait.
So you go
I've never seen or heard about
Really?
that. Yeah, have you?
It's kind of
Okay,
bigger
I've heard
culturally.
of float tank, but I didn't know like it was like that.
Did you ever see? Did you watch Stranger Things?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what Elle does. She goes into like the tank. So she goes into like. You go into like a very deep, it's like a forced meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like meditation, but like you're floating
Yeah.
So where do you find this?
So I would do it in Mount Kisco. Yeah. Rise Above Flotation.
You're going to have one in your thing,
There
right?
will be one at Agora. Yeah.
Rise Above Flotation.
Yeah. I'll hook you guys up if you want. Let me know.
I want to try.
It's amazing. I've had some of the most
just
profound.
like, obviously you go, and how long is it? Or
It's
like
an hour. I've done an hour and a half.
You're floating for an hour?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the first,
it kind of seems hard, but like obviously the buoyancy is so high that you're not gonna.
Yeah, you're not gonna
sink,
drown. No,
right?
not even close. You could like you can't even no. Like
That's
so,
so
your
weird.
head always wants to kind of come up to your point. You're like, this doesn't. So they do have like supports if you need it, but you get to a point where you get comfortable with it, and all of a sudden like you just I've done it a good amount. I've
Do you
done
do
an
it
hour
like
and a half.
weekly?
No, I wish
Or
I could. I just don't have the capacity
Yeah.
to do it. But the times I have done it, there have been just profound experiences in there that you couldn't even put into words.
Yeah, because you're just like with your mind.
They say it's the closest thing to being back in your mother's womb because you're just void of everything.
Oh, I gotta try this.
Yeah, it's crazy. Wow. So one of the experiences, so the inventor of the float tank, John C. Lilly, he called this thing the 0 point, which is like pure consciousness.
Okay.
So I was doing it for quite some time and I hit a good stride with it. And I went to the tank one time, and the only way I can explain is like the first 20 minutes for me, and it's the time frame got shorter because I started meditating more. So like you're used to trying to find that peace.
Right.
But the first 20 minutes, it's just like the dust settling. It's like, I gotta go food shopping. Like I gotta pick up the kids. Why am I in here? I'm wasting time. I need to go home. Like this is a waste.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the first 20 minutes or so. And then all of a sudden,
That
like
makes sense.
all the dust settles. And all of a sudden, everything starts to come up, like good, bad, or ugly. You start interfacing with your thoughts, feelings. You're just like, the first time I did it was like a Rubik's Cube. It was like, my brain was just like spinning out of control. But he talked about this place called the absolute 0 point. And it's a place of consciousness that you're just completely like floating. And I experienced it, and I was trying to explain it to someone. I was like, what about like, I was like, you don't exist. You're just, I felt like I was floating through abundance and void. Like I felt so filled yet so empty, and it was just like I wasn't a body. I wasn't. It's wild. But and it felt like I was just floating in space. And the second I realized it, I snapped right out of it because I was like brought myself out of it. I was like, whoa,
what the hell's going on?
Where the hell was I? Like I was not here.
Yeah.
It was just I was explaining to someone, and they're like, what about your wife and your kids? I'm like, they don't exist. He's like, what about I'm like, you don't exist. Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
You're nothing. You're not even a body. Like it's wild.
Wow.
But it's beautiful in the same time.
What do you think? What's the purpose of it?
I think just to tap into deeper levels of consciousness. I think it's about going inward and really trying to figure out what to bring outward.
Like just
So
like
have
clarity,
you
meditate, like getting to yourself.
Have
like
you
getting,
brought things like when you go there, do you like bring things out of it to quote unquote like work on?
Yeah.
Or
for sure. For sure. I try to go in with an intention.
Okay.
But sometimes I just go in clear, just like, all right, whatever. I'm just going to go in and see what comes up. And then, a big part of it, it's the same thing as like therapy or anything else. Like when you're in the vacuum of these spaces, it's all good.
Yeah.
Right? You're in a vacuum. Yeah. But it's about like, what do you take out of that and bring to the world now?
Like be vulnerable with yourself.
And integrate into like the lessons you've learned in there. So it's been
wow, that's so
impactful.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So finding silence, I think, is a good place to start at least.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting. Do you get in it like it's pitch black and you?
No, there's a light and there's some music.
Okay.
So there's like a couple buttons on the side, and you kind of get comfortable, and then you hit the button, and the lights go out, and there's some soft music that kind of slowly fades away, and then you're just.
And then after an hour,
a light comes on. Yeah, light comes on. The music kicks back up, and then like all of a sudden the motor will go back on, and you're like, oh. But there have been times the lights have come on, and
you're still.
And I'm still kind of out. I'm like, maybe I'm visualizing this in my mind, and this isn't actually happening. Like maybe this is all like maybe I've gone
your
too far.
time is up. Get out.
Please get out, sir.
Next person needs to go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Wow, that's really interesting. How much is one of these?
I think it's like $100 for an hour.
No, I'm saying like one of these machines.
God.
They're expensive.
They vary. I think it's like depends. They go up to like $30,000-$40,000.
Oh wow, that's so interesting. I don't even know a place like that would offer it by us.
By us,
Yeah.
What else does this place have?
They have like
red light therapy. Do they do like all those
they have
things?
Massage, and they have mainly just 3 float tanks. Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting. And I haven't even seen it. I'm just so surprised that I haven't seen it or heard about it on like social media. Nothing.
Really? Yeah, Joe Rogan is a big proponent of it. Tom Brady, Steph Curry talks about it a lot. It was on an episode of The Simpsons at one point. Lisa and Homer go both in separate tanks, and Lisa goes into like Homer's body and gets like her perspective of things as Homer. So she leaves there feeling like more empathetic towards him as a dad and stuff. So
wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. It's kind of like in the like cultural zeitgeist, but kind of on the fringe. Like it's not really like mainstream as much as you think it would.
Yeah, I know. I feel like it would catch attraction.
Yeah,
once it. Just like ice baths or like saunas.
Yeah, like, we're definitely into that.
It definitely had its moment, and it definitely kind of flattened out, but I still do it whenever I can and if I can. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool.
I want to try.
Yeah, that sounds like
I'll hook you guys up. I'll get you in there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool. Now I just want one. Just so that I can have one do it every day. It's probably like so addicting and like you want to keep doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So if it's like, if it's far from you, like you're trying to.
You try to fit into your life in some way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Part of the reason why I want to have one there.
No, yeah.
Right? 'Cause it's an experience, but it's a long drive up and drive back, and then you're floating for an hour, so it does consume a good amount of the day. So
a lot of the day. That's awesome. Okay, so how we'll go back into kind of your Bible think tank.
Yeah.
What does that entail, and how has it helped the people that come to Agora to do it? Yeah,
so it like similar to the men's group, I think everyone's kind of coming to the space with their own journey. And I think, they you hear it more now about like the men's loneliness epidemic. And, it's very easy to dismiss that.
It is.
But as a man, it's like it can be a very lonely experience, right? Because you think that you're going through whatever dynamic of your life, you think that you're really like, I'm the only one going through this.
Should be like,
yeah, of course. Like we have to present ourselves in a certain way, and like it's like I got it all figured out. We're good. And because for a lot of the people around you, you need to be that. Whether it be your kids, your wife, your whatever that looks like, your partner, you kind of have to. eat the brunt of the stress and just be like, all right, I got this. So I think like the men's group that we run there, the think tank is very similar, where people are wrestling with these ideas of what God is. What does it mean to believe in God? Like, is God out there? Is God in, like, so I think people bring in these questions. So we really keep it open format. Like, we go around to, like, just throw some stuff. We throw it on a whiteboard. We write it all out and we go, all right, what stands out, right? Last one we talked about hell, right? Like, what is hell? What does that look like? How is the hell in scripture? What is hell like to you? So it's about like throwing these ideas and these concepts out and just wrestling with them. And that's been something for me that has been huge, is just wrestling with my own thoughts and really my own feelings, and realizing like I'm neither one of these things, and I could move through them or they can control me. And I think that the more you get around people that are also doing that, it starts to all of a sudden, like, you're building this momentum and this energy of like, I'm not alone, right? And it's okay that I'm struggling. Yeah. It's okay that I have these thoughts and these concerns about life or whatever it is.
Yeah, of course.
Outside of the think tank, we do the men's groups, and to see guys wrestle with their marriage one week and then walk in the next week and be like, man, like, my marriage is different, like, after that, right? Like, it's wild. It's wild. Yeah. Or to go through something with your child's other parent, right? Who isn't your, two fathers, right? Like the birth father and then, stepfather, like that dynamic. And someone come back or texting me the next day, like, hey man, like, totally patched, like, it was a complete misalignment of communication. We're on the same page. We want to raise the healthiest kid we can. It's like, how do you put anything to that? Like, that's amazing. So I think it's just more about creating a comfortable atmosphere where guys can just be vulnerable and understand they're not alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you deal with the idea of like being a leader for those guys, but also having your own like issues too, and not falling into like, I'm leading these guys, so I have to take the brunt of what they're dealing with, almost like you're being like a therapist for like these guys. So how do you deal with not taking that brunt and like, also getting through your own shit in your head?
I think it goes back to when I first had the conversation like 7 years ago. I realized I have a capacity to be very present when people are going through this stuff, right? I just have the ability to like active listening. Again, I've always been to like psychology, philosophy. I have a life coaching certification. I went back to school, get my master's in mental health counseling. Like, I'm very big into like all that. But again, my containers could be only so full, right?
Exactly.
So I realized I need the space just as much as they do.
Yeah.
Right. So I use the space, although I'm facilitating, I'm using the space I cry at every meeting. Like, I'm very candid and very vulnerable about stuff that's going on in my life. Yeah. Because I think it's important to kind of show that, right? That it's okay to be that vulnerable. And then I need to get off my chest myself, right? I also go to therapy. So I have mentors and coaches of all walks of life. And I lean on these people. You both said at the same time, very twinny.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure. But having these people in your life that you could use and kind of bounce ideas off of and wrestle with and talk about your struggles is super impactful.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool. How does somebody go about finding somebody like that if they're looking for that? Because I feel like that's very hard, and that's something that people like
don't want to
scared
ask for.
Yeah, I think it's through conversation. It's through, like, it's the old expression is God recognizes God, right? So when you recognize something in someone, you don't have to necessarily like, hey, can you be my mentor?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But it becomes like, hey, can we grab a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Not do a podcast. Can we have a cup of coffee? Can we have an actual genuine cup of coffee?
Do you want to have an hour conversation?
You want to have an hour conversation about life and all your fears? But no, it becomes a thing about, let's have a cup of coffee, right? And again, you brought up a great point, like networking. Like, you never know who you reach out to. It's like, hey, I know this person, and then that person becomes a mentor to you, or someone that you're talking to on a monthly basis, or whatever it may be. But yeah, I think it's just about being okay, being vulnerable, putting yourself out there, and just kind of extending the olive branch of, the relationship being
wanting to find it,
yeah,
seeking
of course,
it. Really.
Yeah, you kind of have to look for it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. And how has your wife, played a part in this? Obviously, because like you guys are running it together.
Yeah.
But it's a men's only place or group. So how does she fit into it? And has there been like I don't know, any like tension
Yeah, of
there
course.
with like her being or her helping run it, but it's like not a place for her.
Yeah, no. So I mean, in regards to running, it's kind of like me and now my partner and stuff like that.
Okay.
My business partner. She's really in regards to like emotional support for me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and indifferent, right?
Yeah.
She's got, she's very steadfast. She's super organized. Things are very regimented. So I think, her role in all of it is she keeps me in a line outside of Agora where, it's like, you got to focus on these things too. Like
course,
we can't just get, because I can get very, like I said, very rabbit holey. So I can get very consumed.
Yeah, if you're passionate about it.
100%. It doesn't feel like work, and that's what I love about it. It's like, I jokingly say that this is my Noah's Ark. Like this is what I was called to build in this world.
Yeah.
But that also can be very draining.
Yeah, of course.
And if you're not keeping yourself kind of tied to what's truly important and why you're doing it, right? You could lose sight of that why. So she and my kids are always the reminder of like why I'm actually doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is a lot for people. I think they just don't know how to find their why, or figure it out. And that's how they get lost, because they don't know what it is and they don't know what that center point is to come back to all the time.
Yeah, well, it changes, right?
Yeah,
like
of course.
Your why changes. It ebbs and flows. Like sometimes like, oh, the why is because I want to create healthiness for men. And
Of course.
But then I go back and like, I also want to create like a world for my kids that's better, right? Like whether it be my daughter has a healthier husband, right? Or my son becomes a healthier man. I want to create a world for them that it's a healthier place to be.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for your kids, from my perspective, like for them to see me do this stuff, right? Like to go out and like, I train very early in the morning and I come home and my kids are, up and whatever, or just starting their day on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I tell my wife, I'm like, it's important they see me walk in the door like sweaty and tired and like beat up.
Like
from
already up
jujitsu.
for the day,
I'm done.
did something.
Right. Like I trained jujitsu at 5 a.m, right?
Right.
Like I, went to war in some regards, like not to be dramatic,
Yeah,
but
of course.
like it's important for them to see me come back to this, right? Because a big disconnect, I forgot where I read this, but was like this transition in culture where kids didn't go to work with their fathers anymore.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was like, dad's just out of the house now. I don't know where he is or what he's doing. Right. And then all of a sudden he comes back. And usually dad comes home stressed, tired, angry, frustrated, no patience, because he just spent all his energy at work.
Yeah.
Right. So now like the dad comes home and the kids are like, hey, dad, I want to play. And he's like, right.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, what happened to dad over these 8 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours that he became so
Comes back like
disconnected.
this,
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for them to see me like grind through. They know they've been to Agora. They're, we drive past. They're like, oh, dad, Agora. Like, they know. Like my son the other day was like, dad, I want to take over Agora. I'm like, all right, dude. Like, absolutely. Like, let's do it. So I think, again, having that why really keeps you grounded. Yeah.
And where do you see it going? Like, what's your vision? Obviously, I know it's huge and, your second location opening, but what's the impact of it and where does it
I mean, we see it as definitely multiple locations. We want to have like a multi-pass where people who are a member in New York can scan a fob
go somewhere else,
and go and, Austin or wherever it may be. People have said it's a global idea.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, this could be in Essex. This could be, wherever.
Yeah.
I tried just to stay humble. I'm like, all right, let's open this
go to the
second
next
one.
town.
Let's get to the second one before we go overseas. But I mean, listen, I'm just excited to be, and I'm, again, could it be? Sure. I'm open to it for sure. But I'm just really excited to be on this journey and building this second one and learning so much. That's been like a big takeaway, is just kind of doing my best to embrace the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. What's so hard about, like, obviously you want it now.
Yeah.
But like learning through all that stuff, it's also like a stressful process.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to meet these deadlines, and it's almost like a contract, like you're leading up to funding and then you close one area where you're able to start funding, and like that's a finish line, but there's a start line right next to it.
Oh, yeah.
So like, what's that like, trying to like go through that? And it's a journey and it's a process, but how?
I always remind myself it's not my timing. Like I always, and I'm not great at it. It's something I actively work on.
It's true.
It's just like, this is not my timing as much as I want yesterday. And then, you do get these previous experiences that you could pull from, of like, oh, I remember when I thought like I was gonna get to this thing, and then everything was going to be better, or everything was going
Right.
to change, everything was going to be different.
And it wasn't.
Or you're going to cross this like proverbial finish line. I think that's a cultural thing. Like we
Yeah.
think like retirement's the time where I can now enjoy my life.
Yeah.
So I think the more you create a relationship with like there is no finish line, and whatever that finish line may look like, it to your point,
Yeah.
you're starting right back up with something
Yeah.
totally different. And then also, and I say this to my wife all the time, the discomfort of this, which it can be very uncomfortable, the not knowing, the stress of it
Yeah.
is just as much a part of it as painting walls and framing pictures. Like
Yeah.
Right.
this is the resistance part of it is part of it. Like
Yeah.
that is part of the journey. Like you cannot avoid that. So the more you start to accept that this is
And
part
just
of
get
it,
it done. Yeah, do what.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, this is just a part of it. And it goes back to that earlier point of like, the more no's, you're closer
Yeah.
to that yes.
Oh yeah, of
So
course.
we just
Because
stay steadfast.
It's like a thing that's so beyond your knowledge
Yeah.
that you have to bring other people on.
Yeah.
But like, there's a
But
point
it's
where now
hard,
it's
yeah.
growing big. You don't necessarily, not that you don't want to bring those people on, because like this is what you built,
Yeah.
and this is your vision. But you need to bring those people on
And
in order to
expand, yeah.
complete the project.
100%.
And that may look like giving up, like quote unquote percentage of
Yeah,
the
it
company.
does. It 100% it does.
How does that like make you feel? And I
Great.
feel like how do you deal with that part?
Yeah, it's exactly right. There's a great book by Stephen Pressfield called The Art of War. No, The War of Art. The War of Art. Sorry, I messed that one up. War of Art. And he talks about pros hiring pros.
Yeah.
And you have to outsource things you don't want to do, and you have to outsource things you don't know how to do. And the more you stay tied to, I have to do everything, the harder it really becomes. We talked about before, like editing the podcast.
Yeah.
Like it's like, yeah, I want it to be a certain way. I want this thing. I want this lower third. I want that thing. It has to look at. At some point, you have to just like let it go, and
Right.
you could figure it out and correct it if you need to. And I think it's also about like alignment, like finding the right people that you align with, that have the same vision, that speak the same language. And there have been people that have come along on the journey that were like, and I'm the guy that's like trying to fit the square peg in the round hole. I'm like, no, this is going to work. And my,
Yeah.
whether it be, our CMO, Jay Lacayo, or Rich, my other business partner, they're like, I don't know. I'm like, no, this is going to work. We're going to
Yeah.
make this. And like, kind of
No.
those people that keep you in check to be like,
Yeah,
dude, like
that too.
you're too close to this. You got to let go a little bit. And like we talk about this in the capital part of it too. It's like we could find the money tomorrow, but it has to be the right person, right? If it's some guy that's going to be, or some gal that's going to be the wrong person, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. So, keeping those people around you that keep you in check, but then also really honing into that alignment piece of what's, again, what's important.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's huge. In that space, like what's one thing that like scares you, that like every day you're like telling yourself like, it's like in your head and it's like repeated, but like you're trying to like,
I'm actively working on that right now. Like the whole like self-sabotage, imposter syndrome. I'll fall into like cycles.
Yeah.
I'll fall into cycles.
Exactly,
And I think a big part of it is the awareness of that cycle. And I think the quicker you could have awareness around that cycle, the quicker you can kind of remove yourself out of it.
Okay.
So for me, it's literally been like, I'm in an actual thought loop over like the last probably week and a half that just been in this cycle of thinking, right? And then it's like, I have to actually actively stop and be like, okay, this is not moving anything in the right direction. I have to just actively stop the way I'm thinking and like shift the lens.
something.
And that's work. Like that's an actual active process of being like, you start to think one way, you have to literally be the gatekeeper of your mind and your mouth and be like, no, we're going to shift this a different way.
Yeah, I think imposter syndrome is like real. A lot of people have trouble with being like, I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
But like every other person is a human. They went through exactly what you're going to go through. So
Yeah,
You're-
absolutely. It's a great
yeah.
point. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Knowing
everyone
that
deals with
part
that.
of it. Yeah.
it's like social media too, because it
right,
shows
like, oh,
you
that celebrity has all
everybody's-
this, but like they're literally a human. They were somewhere, they
Yeah.
went past where you're through. So
Right.
like,
Right. You just got to keep on like
Yeah.
pushing through and pushing. I think of that famous, like, it's like a picture online. It's a meme. I think it would be considered a meme, but it's like the one guy's digging.
Yeah.
And there's like the diamond on
diamond
this side.
right there?
Yeah. The other guy's
Yeah.
walking back. Like I think about that
Right.
all the time.
yeah.
So I just think of like, it might be
It's
the
like,
next
don't
one.
walk back. Like,
Right.
don't
Just don't turn around.
Yeah,
Just keep on
right.
going forward. And it's hard because you want all the forward momentum to be these bigger things.
Right.
Like you want it to be like this big, like, oh, it's this thing. And
but sometimes it's small.
Sometimes it's literally just getting out of bed. Like sometimes it's just making that post about something or having that conversation. And like in the immediate instant gratification world we live in, that's not very satisfying. But in like a long enough timeline, you look back and you go, oh shit. It was that one thing that really set this whole different course of actions. Yeah. And it's like the butterfly effect. Like you don't realize it until like you're further down the path.
Yeah. It's crazy how social media changes that so much for us nowadays too, because it's like a constant, like your brain's always going, thinking. And it's crazy. I mean, even in different places of the world, like I was just talking about this with somebody, like it's so different. Like living on Long Island, like I feel like it's like a rat race. Yeah. Like everybody's going. And even when we come up here, it's like way different.
Yeah. 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 It's a slower energy.
Or slower. Yeah, it's crazy. And I feel like it's just like in like an algorithm, like even your social media is showing you things. Like I feel like when you're on Long Island, that's like,
like, it's your Long Island algorithm. Yeah. I get it.
It's like scary.
Yeah, I think, and there's a thing called morphic resonance. And it's like spaces have energy. Yeah. And that energy is like almost like they say, like that's why a kid's room is different than a prison cell, right? They're both just rooms. Right. But like there's an energy to them that when you walk into them, you're like, oh, this is not right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that being outside Manhattan, it's like it emanates from there. Like it starts to buzz outward and starts to like, it dilutes a little bit. Like I live in Westchester. Yeah. But like you feel, Monday morning when you're driving past the train station, there's a different energy than like Sunday afternoon, right? Like there's a different buzz around that. So I totally agree with you. And like one of the guys in the men's group, his son was over in Europe and he's like, yeah, people are waiters and they're just waiters. Like they're not waiters waiting to become actors. They're not waiters working on their album. They're not waiters working on their business. They're just waiters and they're very happy, right? And I think that is a beautiful part of this country is that we have, such a hustle and grind country and we come from that, right? Like we come from a revolution, right? Like, so it's like in our DNA, but it's also super toxic if that's what you're always the gear you're always on.
Yeah. And it's hard to come out of in a sense.
So hard.
How do you come out of it in your
my kids are very good reminders that, Dad, you're on your phone too much. Get off your phone. Like they will remind me very often. Like, Dad, you're on your phone. Get off your phone. I'm like, oh, sorry. I think just being a dad definitely grounds me in a lot of ways. Again, not great at it. Try to do more meditating, more journaling. Getting back into things that I know do work. But then again, it becomes like, oh, I don't have time to meditate. It's like, that's the first wrong answer. So find time to meditate. Yeah, exactly. So being aware of that and just catching it when you're in those thought loops. Yeah, fixing it. Exactly.
That's strong. I mean, even I struggle with it. I feel like every week it's
like even for 5 minutes, like in the morning, even if you literally just did it before you brush your teeth, like I don't even know.
Just like lay in bed. Like that's like my current version of it.
Sit up out of bed and just start writing.
I'll fall back asleep. Be careful.
But like not having judgment around you. Like there was one point where I like wake up every morning and I do like my Wim Hof breath work and meditate and I would like, and that was very serving. And I know that that's like an ideal version of what it could be. But right now in the current season of my life, it's like my version of meditating is waking up in the morning and giving myself 5 minutes before I get out of bed and just say some prayer and sit there and just be still with myself. And then 5 minutes a night before I close my eyes or try to go to sleep, if my brain's not racing, just give myself that same 5 minutes of just like downtime. It's not perfect. It's not ideal, but it's something. And it's literally better than nothing.
Yeah. I think seasons is huge too, because some people, like you have a season of your life where you're like constantly like go. But also to like recognize those seasons is huge too. And like, be okay that like maybe now's not the time that it's go. Maybe it's sitting still. And even I struggle with that tremendously. Like having like, thinking of a season of sitting still, like I feel like I can't do that. Yeah. And I think it's huge.
I do my best to just, again, not great at working on actively is just pivoting like and recognize like, there's the season where I was like doing CrossFit at 5 a.m. every day and it's all good. And like, there's the season of like, okay, my diet's whatever it is. It has a good, I think once you set a certain standard, you don't fall below that. Yeah, right. But then all of a sudden you have to have like, for me, for like the reality I live in, it's okay to like not be perfect.
Right.
Like, you know, like this is the season where I'm like, okay, not eating perfectly. I'm okay not having this aesthetic because I'm pouring a lot of my energy into something else.
Yes.
That in the long run, hopefully all these things can come together in this perfect stew. And I think it's having this frame of reference or this body of work that you could pull from, say, oh, that's when I did have an aesthetically more pleasing body, or that's when I did eat
100%.
dialed in on my carnivore diet. It was perfect.
Right.
But I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
And maybe I can go back to that one day or a version of that. But right now, this is the season of me building my business, right?
Exactly.
That's going to be serving in its own right.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, or God willing, all
It'll
these
come
things will come together.
Yeah.
And then we'll have, you know, a bigger soup.
Yeah.
100%.
Or a more seasoned
Yeah.
in a way. Hopefully it comes together well.
Well said. Well, better
Hopefully
season
it's
soup. That was good.
almost done.
Fantastic.
Oh man. Well, thank you. We appreciate you for
Thank you for having me.
You know, coming on the podcast and talking about it, because I think that in this world, at least, men's mental health is like a huge thing, even for, you know, people who are stuck in that way of thinking that it's still not a thing.
Yeah.
And they need to just be okay with realizing that it is something that they just have to deal with and talk to other people about. And the fact that you're opening a space where people could come do that is really cool and, you know, awesome and serving to the community. So I think it's really awesome.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Just drop your socials and where people can find you.
Yeah. So personal social is Vinny Brusco at Vinny Brusco, Brusco. Agora is at Agora_Westchester. And then everything is at agorasocialclub.com. Podcast is Accounts of Dudes podcast and all your platforms, which you guys got to come on.
Yeah,
come on anytime.
Of course.
And then our raises over at wefunder.com/Agora Social Club.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on today. Twins out.
Thanks, guys.